Hello everyone, I'm that 3D guy and today we are gonna model something a bit different, maybe a Georgiou form in Alias and let's see how it goes. So yeah, over here we have a very quick curve structure that I have already prepared, and if I have a look here, this is something that we are gonna model today. Seems quite interesting and not very complex. You might feel that there could be some complex blends over here, starting from here and then ending here and vanishing at this point. But again, this is something that I would still consider quite simple in terms of complexity, because there are obviously much more complex models and parts that you might have to model in the future. We'll take a look at those later. As discussed in the previous video, we'll be talking a lot more about other things as well, and also discussing a lot more complex geometries. But for now, I think this seems to be fairly simple, getting our hands on again after a year. And yeah, let's see where it takes us. So if we see over here, I have already placed some curves here which can help us start. These are just 2-degree simple curves, and we have a reference canvas over here. As you can see, I have 4 layers over here. One is for the blueprint over here, as you can see. One is for the curves. So will be our curves. There will be initial surfaces and the final surfaces. I'll tell you this in a bit. So let's start constructing our surfaces now that we have our simple curves placed. I'll quickly just skin these. So I'm just holding it for now, and yeah, perfectly fine. Let's skin this at the bottom as well. So 1, 2 and 3, perfect. So we have something like this, and if you go here, our geometry looks good over here. We have the curves already, and those were properly aligned before. Just 2-degree curves, nothing complex. Now, yeah, so now I wanted to distinguish between the initial surface and the final surface. This is my approach on how I start modeling. I try to model the symmetry as well for the initial surfaces. That way, when I extend it back, my main symmetry remains as it is, because sometimes what happens is the curvature comb at the center becomes a bit distorted. Despite being G2, the curvature combs becomes a bit distorted. That way I'm able to preserve that curvature comb, I'm able to preserve that design language and still have a really good reflection and also work in symmetry. So when I have something like this over here, I'll just duplicate this. So just Control C and Control V, and I'll place these ones in the final surfaces. Obviously we lose the history here, so I have something like this: assign objects, and maybe skin over here in the initial surfaces and just hide. So now we have something like this. Now what happens is, initial surfaces are surfaces that we can obviously use later on again in case we lose some of the data here, or we want to go back to the initial surfaces for maybe changing the history a little, and this will help us to basically model it in symmetry. So let's do that. Now what I'm doing is I'm extending these 2 surfaces back. So I'll just maybe use this, and not like this, maybe extending it this way, and also this one, and I'll be basically bringing it back. So obviously I had the symmetry aligned. Let's bring it back again, and let's skin, and this one as well, skin, and we'll just bring it back like this. Perfect. And now when we turn on the symmetry, we'll have the symmetry on the other side, which is perfectly fine, and we still retain the G2 and also presumably the curvature comb as well. So if I have something like this, as you can see, our curvature comb is perfectly fine. So we do not have to worry about the curvature comb breaking, because we have obviously extended the main edge and extended it back so that we still have the theory there. So that's the point of the entire initial and final surfaces. Perfect. Now let's try to start with the simple closure of these surfaces. So I'll just use a skin over here again. I like to use skin quite often, but it could give you some unnecessary results as well. Like it could give you some results that you might feel that are not up to the mark, that is the time where you can start using freeform blend as well. So I think based on what we see here, as you can see, we have some curvature over here. Let's try to replicate that. Something like this should work. The value of the crown is around, yeah, it's 0.12, which is okay. The surface over here looks okay as well. And let's try to do a skin here as well on this side. So skinning, and looks okay to me here. And now let's mirror these as well into final surfaces and assign. And now if you see, I can already see there's a breakage here. Let's try to see over here, and we have a tangential error over here, which is 1.04 degrees. This is a very quick fix that we can do. Like, we just have to basically use a symmetric align, and we have symmetric align here. We just place it at the center and it will align automatically. We could have done that manually, but I think for now, I think it's perfect. Our reflections look pretty awesome as well, and yeah, looks okay. So yeah, this is how I think it looks for now. Can we try to make it more interesting for now? No, I think that's perfectly fine. Now this is a part where I would like to show you the difference between surface blend, so the fillet, and maybe trimming it up and then filleting it, right? So there's a surface fillet command that we are using for now. Let's use this, and if you see over here, it works okay. It is giving us surfaces, but there are a lot of bezier surfaces that we see here, which makes the geometry look ugly, right? So what are we going to do? We could obviously try to trim these and then again fillet between them using manually using freeform blend or any other tool. Yeah, so sometimes filleting works, like the normal surface fillet works. The software is able to recognize the edges. It could also be due to a gap here. So as you can see, there is no positional continuity over here, because of which it is basically breaking and causing this issue. Now we could obviously project the curve and then trim it and then freeform blend it. But what I would try to do is I could use insert. So there is an insert edge, basically takes an edge from the true edge and we can slide it back all the way till here maybe, and all the way back here, and then we can trim these. So if we trim these, it's gonna look something like this. And now when we freeform blend it, it should do the task. Let's see, G2 continuity, edge align on both sides, and something like this. Perfect. So we do have something which now makes more sense and a bit more interesting, right? Let's project these and also get rid of these. So project, normal, and trim. Same for this one. Project the edge normally and trim it. Perfect. So now we have something like this. Our reflections look really good, I would say. To make it even better, I think what could happen is that the way this edge is, we could try to make it flow the same way. But for now, since we are just modeling a concept or maybe just quickly going through the surfaces, it should be perfectly fine and doable, not an issue. And looks similar to what we have here. Maybe a little bit of filleting and other stuff would pop this a bit more, right? Perfect. So now let's take a look at, yeah, just let's assign this one as well so that we have something like this. Perfect. Now we need to make this complex blend over here, right? So how are we going to do that? Let's take a look. I'm going to use the same curve, or maybe better than that, we can obviously try to project two of our own curves. So I'll go in the wireframe mode and let's take a look. Maybe somewhere from here we could try to have something which goes all the way here, and maybe a little bit of crowning, negative crowning over here, and something like this. Perfect. and maybe trying to follow the shape like this. Perfect. And we now have something which is like this. Can we extend it a little bit behind? Maybe something like this. And move over here. Perfect. And like this. Perfect. And let's project this. So we are going to project it on the view. And let's trim convert. So we can do it. Maybe we can divide these first. So trim. And okay, so we do have a gap here. Let's fix that. And let's extend this curve as well. Now we have an intersection, and let's trim this. So trimming and divide. Perfect. And now we can use our trim convert tool. So let's see. We have a trim convert, and here we are. Perfect. Does this look okay? I think it looks okay. Maybe we needed a smaller. Yeah, I think we needed something smaller here. Can I try to fix that? Let's see. Or maybe we can resolve that in the blend itself. Perfect. Let's try. And I have something like this. I extend it a bit behind, and I extend this also a bit behind like this. And now what I would try to do is I'll just try to push these a bit high. So the curve I'll just negate, and this one. Perfect. I don't need the curve here. Perfect. And I'll have something like this. Perfect. Perfect. Let's bring this a little bit in the front so that we are not making it a bit more of an awkward curve, I would say. And this can go somewhere over here. Maybe let's leave it like this for now. And project, view, and trim, or maybe trim convert. So trim convert again. Perfect. Something like this. And now let's try to freeform blend, because again we are trying to make it vanish, right? So let's try to freeform blend, and let's see where it goes. We can use connect ends over here and try to use something like this. Same here, freeform blend, and edge align here and connect ends. A little bit at the back here, something like this. Maybe same over here, trying to bring it a little closer and trying to maybe bring it like this. Perfect. Now we have something which looks quite interesting. Let's see. All right, looks interesting. We could also make the quality a bit better, so let's have the tolerance of 0.01, 0.0, maybe 0.01, and perfect. All right, and let's use a freeform blend here, and we need edge continuity over here as well. Perfect. So as you can see, we already have this blend over here that we wanted, and it is kind of matching the one that we were actually looking for, right? If we want to accentuate a bit more, we could go into the query edit history and try to maybe increase the shape here so that it looks a bit more blended, and it extends all the way till the back, something like this. And if we have the locators here, there's a little bit of curvature continuity error, but that's very minute. We can actually negate that, and that should be perfectly fine. And now we just untrim this surface, and now project, or maybe the better way would be to project align. So if we are able to project align these two, that should be perfectly fine. So object construction, and we have align, and G2 and project. So if we have something like this, yes, and project align it here, it's giving us some curvature deviation, which is okay. And here as well, it's giving us a tangential error. That's okay as well, I would say, as long as we are not breaking the positional continuity and our reflection looks okay. We should be okay with these minor errors over here. Shouldn't be an issue, because in the end we try to keep the positional continuity as clean as possible. But yeah, apart from that, I would also say that if we have something like this is 1.5, as you can see. The main reason could also be this, how it is basically transitioning our CVs. As you can see, it is going from close to far. If we have something here where we can obviously try to make it 1.5 as well, would it make it better? Let's see. And let's align it. Object align. So align G2 and edge. Yes. See, perfect. So now we have something that looks much better. Perfect. As you can see, it has the curvature, it has all the shapes, and it also looks much better, like how we wanted it in the main blend. So we just used a blend over here, nothing complex. We have not added multiple surfaces, no filleting, nothing, just simple blend tools and just simple fillets. Now we can obviously start filleting these. Before doing that, we could also maybe have an underlaying surface here, but let's add a fillet before that. So something like this, and let's add a fillet of maybe 30. Let's see, looks okay. Maybe adding it to 80. Yeah, 80 looks much better, I would say. Or maybe can we push it to 100? Is it that high though? Let's see. It is kind of high. Maybe this works. Maybe 100 if it makes it look more much better. Yeah, 100 looks okay. So let's keep 100, and let's add here as well. So something like this, and perfect. 100 looks okay. Perfect. So now we have the shape here. Looks really interesting. It matches the geometry that we actually have here. And now we can try to basically use draft. Now what draft is going to do for us is basically we are going to chain select everything. So let's chain select, and now there's a small trick that I learned. So I have something over here, but I want it to be inside, right? What I can try to do is I can keep it draft. I can make the draft angle to 90, and the length to be something like 25. As you can see, we have everything inside here without an issue. So instead of creating a surface, trimming it, we now have the entire surface over here, which is perfectly fine. Obviously, these are some of the issues that we face. There are some indentations over here that we might have to try to get rid of manually, but this is really good way of I would say quickly getting using the draft and basically trying to get the surfaces in like an offset or something. It is a really good way of doing that. So yeah, perfectly normal, I would say. And yeah, uh, this is how we can do it. Again, for these complex ones, we can obviously get rid of these and try to manually match it or something. Perfect. Now we have something like this. Let's also try to have an extension here, which we kind of forgot at the start. So let's have something like this maybe, and let's have something like this over here, have an extension like this, and let's see. Perfect. So we have a small extension like this. And what I'd like to do is, I don't want this all the way down so that our extension does not become does not go down all the way. So let's bring this a little up, not all the way down but a little up, something like this. So finally I'm skinning these, and I can also add a fillet here. So adding the surface fillet on this side looks perfect, and on this side as well. Perfect. Let's untrim these two surfaces, untrim, and let's project this normally and trim this again, keep, and project this one, trim it again, same here, project, and trim. So we do have something like this now. Let's assign, and perfect. So as you can see, we have something like this which looks more interesting now. And now we can start with the filleting for these parts. Alright, perfect. So there was a small issue. Let's get rid of the history first. Let's get rid of the entire history, delete construction history, and yes. So now that we have the history removed, we can now directly start aligning this again. Use variable fillets. First we'll align it properly. So we have 10 and we have the fillet in. We'll obviously have a point here and a point maybe, yeah, this works for us, I would say. Maybe a point here. So we have 10 over here, and as soon as it reaches here, it hits 7.5, and all the way till the end it is 7.5. So let's keep it 7.5. Now let's see how it looks. Looks perfect. Nice. And we have these issues. We can also use the short edge tolerance. We can increase it so that it matches. Perfect. And do we have any other issue here? No. So that makes it perfect. All right. Let's try it on the other end as well. Done. We are just missing a shut line. So if we have a look here, we are just missing a shut line, which is basically this shut line. Let's try to build that one as well. So we have something like this, and let's have curve here all the way like this. Let's bring it a bit up. Let's see where it is. So it's running a bit low, like this, maybe somewhere around here, right? And if I just toggle on the wireframe, yeah, this looks perfect. All right, and if we just have these two, and if I project it all the way, perfect. And now I just need to have a panel gap here. So what I can do is I can use the panel gap tool. So if I have something here, subject construction, do I have it here? Surface construction, and yes, panel gap. And if I run it all the way, perfect. Now we have a shape that looks like this, and we just mirror it. And there we have it. Our shape looks quite interesting. We have gotten all the lines and all the design language over here that we wanted to replicate, and the surface quality is decent. And this is the final version that we have. Yeah, so this is it guys. I hope you liked the video, and in the next session we'll be doing the scripting for this one to bring it to Blender. Maybe we'll be adding a small I would say a metadata rule where we can obviously try to uh, export it to Blender easily and try to apply some materials. Have some fun with it in the next session, and yeah, see you later. Bye bye.